Good afternoon, everyone. We're going Cuba for Independence. Welcome to the launch of our tour to Cuba, organized by the Barbados Museum and Historical Society in collaboration with the Embassy of Barbados in Havana and Going Places Travel Agency. My name is Harriet Pierce. I'm the librarian here at the museum, and I guess the tour the tour organizer. I wish to recognize the Barbados Ambassador to Cuba, Her Excellency Dr. Sharon Marshall, the BMHS's Deputy Director, Mr. Kevin Farmer, Ms. Lynette Rice of Going Places Travel Agency, Mr. Ali Alvarez Bencomo, our Cuban tour guide, and Mr. William Burton, who's here with me, a frequent visitor to Cuba, and of course, each and every one of you joining us today. Welcome, everyone. Today's session not only signals the official launch of our Cuba trip, scheduled for November 24th to December 1st, but it is also aimed at sharing information that would assist you in preparations for travel, would help you make your decision to join us if you have not yet done so, and generally provide information that would enhance your Cuban experience. So to provide that information, we have our Deputy Director, Mr. Kevin Farmer, will provide the institutional context. Ambassador Marshall will highlight the historical connections between Cuba and Barbados. Lynette and Ali will take you through the itinerary, and William will speak on his experiences visiting Cuba. In turn, we will field your questions and comments. We ask you to hold all of those questions until the end of the session, until the last presentation, and then you can type your question into the Q&A, or if you wish to ask your question on mic, just use the raise hand function and we will unmute your microphone. To separate the questions from the comments, enter all your comments in the chat, questions in the Q&A. So over to you, Kevin.
Thank you very much, Harriet. Welcome to everyone and those who have joined online. Your Excellency, Dr. Sharon Marshall, Ambassador of Barbados to Cuba, other staff members of the embassy, friends of the museum, ladies and gentlemen. Context, we gain Cuba for Christmas. Nothing better than that. In a year where Barbados has restarted its regathering activities, in a year in which the second decade for people of African descent is being celebrated, we gain Cuba as part of the Barbados Museum and Historical Society's commitment not only to the telling of Barbadian history and heritage and the telling of our stories, but the telling of our stories to our diaspora. In a year where we have gone to Panama, after having gone there to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the opening of the Panama Canal, we're going to Cuba, where many Barbadian and Barbadian Panamanians went after the closure of the canal zone construction, following different migratory patterns. For us, over the next decade, I dare say, is about engaging with those disparate communities in Latin America and in this region where Barbadians migrated to from as early as the 1840s all the way up to the 1920s. And we continue that by going to Cuba this year. And we look forward to engaging with Cuban Bajans in their traditional spaces and not so traditional spaces when we venture to Cuba. To see and taste Barbados as it might have tasted 100 years ago with modifications over time. To experience those who still speak English with a Bayesian accent even 100 years after. It's an exciting time for us at the museum, as it will be to meet with those descendant communities when venture into Cuba later this year. And I dare say, in keeping with the fact that we're doing this around the time that we are entering that period of celebrating Barbados' 60th anniversary of independence. It is all tied into what we do here at the home of Barbadian history and culture at the BMHS. And I just want to say we look forward, for those of you who will travel with us, and we look forward to meeting those of you who've called Cuba home for the last century. At this time, I would like to turn over to Her Excellency for a short historical overview of understanding.
Thank you very much, Kevin, and I'd like to thank the museum for the opportunity to participate in this session and in organizing the tour. As you might be aware, it is an area which is quite close to my heart. So Cuba is a country which is rich in history and culture, and there's every reason for people to visit and discover for yourself. And this is particularly true for Barbadians. As Kevin mentioned, the connection between Barbados and Cuba goes back a very long way. I'm not going to start what has been described in the program as a short historical overview before the war for independence from Spain. Suffice it to say that at the end of that war, the Cubans found themselves under the protection of the United States of America. And this development resulted in the lowering of US tariffs against the importation of sugar from Cuba. And because of this, American entrepreneurs had the incentive to invest in the burgeoning sugar industry here in Cuba. Men like Milton S. Hershey of Hershey, Pennsylvania, bought plantations to harvest sugar for his chocolate manufacturing enterprise back home. The US investment in sugar created a need for laborers to cultivate and harvest the cane. The sugar lands were primarily in the eastern part of the country. Cuba could not supply all the labor required, and this situation opened opportunities for Barbadians and other British West Indians at that time. They came in their hundreds and thousands during the period roughly between 1900 and 1935, but again, as Kevin said, the period immediately following the end of the construction of the Panama Canal, saw Barbadians and other British West Indians taking that route to come to Cuba. And they were mainly from Jamaica and Barbados, but other islands as well. They were seeking better economic opportunities for themselves and their families. Some like Rufus Hoyt, whom I interviewed while conducting research for my doctoral degree, he only went to get some of the silk shirts that he used to see his neighbor, Mr. Licorice, bringing back after his stay in Cuba. And against his mother's wishes, Mr. Hoyt stowed away on one of the ships taking workers to Cuba. And I'm indebted to him for the title of my book, Tell My Mother I Gone to Cuba, because that's what he told the lighter man who took him out of the ship. When you get home, tell my mother I gone to Cuba. And he remained in Cuba for 50-something years before eventually returning to Barbados. Some of the migrants came seasonally and worked the crop and returned home. Some of them stayed, and their descendants are part of Cuban society, but they retain pride in their origins. People speaking Barbadian accents who had never set foot in the country. And that's how my journey started, because as a reporter for the Caribbean Broadcasting Union, we came with a team of journalists, and my team was assigned to the central part of Cuba, and I went to Ciego de Avila, among other places, to Baragua. And that's where I met a gentleman by the name of Joseph Atwell. And Mr. Atwell said to me, my father always tell me that Barbados is a small country, but big in culture. So I asked, well, Mr. Atwell, when were you last in Cuba? Oh, I never been. So then I was really amazed because the light bulb went off and I realized that my own family history had a wider context because my maternal grandparents also came to Cuba. They went first to Panama and then eventually they came to Cuba. And my mother was born here on the plantation owned by the same Milton Hershey, whom I mentioned a short while ago. But these people are very proud of their Barbadian heritage. You will meet some of them when you visit Baragua, which is an enclave of mainly Barbadian and Jamaican descendants. Of course, there's another historical factor which links Barbados and Cuba, although a tragic one. And I refer to the downing of the Cubana Airlines plane off the west coast of Barbados in October 1976. It is an event which still resonates with many Cubans of a certain generation, particularly those who had friends or relatives on the ill-fated aircraft. And the monument at Payne's Bay in St. James is an obligatory stop for many Cubans visiting Barbados, either on holiday or on official visits. Cuba's fortunes have waxed and waned over the years. During its boom years, it was a magnet for the West Indian migrants. The country is currently experiencing a severe economic crisis, the impact of which you will no doubt see when you come. You should not let that discourage you. Cuba is a beautiful country, large by our standards. Barbados can fit into the city of Havana alone almost twice. The people are welcoming. There's a lot to see and experience in Cuba. So if you haven't been to Cuba before, or even if you have, don't miss the opportunity to come this November. Ali and Lynette, that's my cue to you to tell people why they should come on the tour.
Lynette, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry, got it. Yeah. Yeah, I wish first of all to thank the Barbados Museum for inviting us Going Places to be a part of this initiative. And I also wish to thank the Barbados Embassy in Cuba for all the assistance which they have provided. We are excited about this tour. At first, I was a little bit not quite sure if I liked the logo or the slogan rather. But no, I'm so used to it. I really, really like it. And I also like the title of Ambassador's book. And I must get that as well. And I think you all should. We want to be, right now, we are all very excited about the tour. And I think we have almost half of the number that we are looking at. As you know, it's on the 24th of November until the 1st of December. And you can feel free to call into our office and someone will send you a brochure. I will not be there next week, but never mind. One of my colleagues will look after you and send you the information. And if you're interested in it, you can advise them as well. Okay. For those of you who haven't seen the brochure, it's on the screen. As you can see, it starts on the 24th of November and it runs until the 1st of December, 2025. I will try to go through it quickly as I can. First, of course,
Lynette, may I interrupt you here? And
sure.
Perhaps we can have it larger on the screen, Anastasia. Can you zoom so that it's
yeah.
more? Yes, thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Okay, first of all, most of you would probably know that there's not a direct service to Cuba. You travel via Panama on Copa Airlines. and then you arrive in Cuba late in the evening of the 24th. Clear immigration, and then you go to your hotel. Hotel accommodation is included in the tour with daily breakfast. Of course, this information is in the system, is on the brochure, so you don't have to, worry about getting up and having to find your way around and so. And also, as we go down, you will see the meals that are included. We are staying at a 4-star hotel in Havana. It's called the Grand Mathieu, and Ali can help me with the pronunciations
Okay, yeah, don't
along
worry.
the way. Correct. So that as we arrive in Cuba, yes, we are there and we go to the hotel. And the following day, the ambassador of Barbados in Cuba, Her Excellency Dr. Sharon Marshall, is putting on a welcome event for us, and we are so looking forward to that. Thank you. After that, we take a tour of Havana City in the classic cars. I'm sure that most of you have seen the cars around in pictures and so. And well, I've been to Cuba before, but I've never had the opportunity to drive around in one. So I'm quite looking forward to that. We also get to see some of the places which you, of course, may have heard or must have heard of: Revolution Square and so forth. And is the Malecon, is it, am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yeah.
I am. Okay.
Exactly, no.
Right. And that's the place they say that most Cubans get to talk, and they gather there and they fall in love. That was interesting.
Yeah, we call it the big couch.
Is that
We call
so?
it the big couch in Havana. People go sit there and go love, talk. It's one of our most iconic places.
Oh, iconic places, that's true. And then they'll take a stroll through colonial Havana, visiting the main spots and so forth. Ali, as our tour representative in Cuba, he has arranged all the luncheons, all the lunches and so forth for us. And he's actually put the tour together. And we are quite looking forward to it. At 3 p.m. on the 25th, which is the following day after we arrive, we visit the University of Havana, which we have heard so much about. And there at that time, we'll be able to have conversations with the students and professors and so forth. And then you return to the hotel. As you will notice, most of the evenings, you have, you're on your own, so you can probably, think about things to do, or we can check around and see if there's something that you can, that you want to find, you have enough time to do. Event on the following day, we take a tour of the Viñales Valley. Is that how it's pronounced? Ali?
Exactly. Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
So you can probably tell us a little bit of that, a little bit about the Viñales Valley.
Yeah, so Viñales are famous. So for those who like the cigars, it's where we get our best tobacco leaf, and they produce the cigars. They have also a rich history for coffee, and also they have one typical rum of them. They call it Guayabita del Pinar, and it's also they have our most ancient mountains. They have a karst formation, and there's a place that it's a moss thing. They also have a cave that we can explore also, and a huge mountain that is painted that we call the prehistorical mural. It wasn't made in the prehistorical, but if you want to know more, you have to go to the tour, and then I will explain you all there.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, straight from the horse's mouth. And then on the 27th, on the 26th rather, 26th. Yeah, we are going on this particular night, we are going to a cabaret show and dinner. I've never done it, so you want to just tell me a little bit about it as well, Ali?
Yeah, so on that night particularly, we're visiting the National Hotel. It's one of our most famous hotel, and then they have a cabaret there that we call it Parisian Cabaret, and then you will be able to see one of our famous cabaret show here. It's made it even before the Cuban Revolution, so before 1959, and then you will enjoy a taste of our most Cuban traditions on the show, and it will be nice for you to enjoy it.
Yes, thank you. We quite look forward to that. And then on the 27th, for me, this is the highlight of the tour. This was encouraged by the ambassador or the Embassy of Barbados in Cuba, and that is our trip to Baragua. Is that correct? Is that the way to pronounce it? Baragua, which is the West Indian village.
Paraguay.
Sorry, Baragua. Okay, fine, thanks. And there you can see descendants of Barbadian, Jamaican, and many other Caribbean nations. I'm quite looking forward to that. After that, we'll do lunch and so forth, and we will return to the hotel. On the 28th, we go to a city, I think city called Trinidad. Trinidad.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Tell us a little bit about that, Ali, please.
So Trinidad is one of our most ancient cities, one of the 7 original villages that we have it here back at the when we were a Spanish colony. And then you will see it's very well preserved. It's actually a UNESCO Patrimony of the Humanity. So you will see like how it used to be the architecture and the life here in Cuba back at the Spanish period. And then we're gonna explore the street, know about history, and they also have a huge tradition of Caribbean and African descendants. So you can enjoy also and know about the religions that we practice here. You will know a little bit when we were visiting Trinidad.
Good. Thank you. We're all looking forward to that. And then on the 29th of November, we have the day off, and then we go to a celebration of the Barbados 59th anniversary of independence hosted by the Embassy of Barbados in Cuba. And that is something that I am certainly looking forward to, and I am sure that you will be as well. The following day, on the 30th, we will always remember where we were on the 30th of November, 2025, because we are going to a church service, and we, of course, will be in Cuba. We are going to a church service at 10 o'clock, and it's going to be 10 until 11:30 a.m. That we should be looking forward to as well. And then we've come to the end of our tour on the 1st of December, and we're on our way back to Barbados with lots of memories, lots of history, and of course, excitement, a lot of fun. And I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about with our friends and family when we return to Barbados.
Okay, Lynette, there was one thing on the 30th that you left out. If we scroll down, that I know excites Barbadians. See that word? Shopping.
Shopping, sorry. So, oh gosh, how could I have forgotten that? Shopping. Yes. And I remember when I was in Cuba the last time, in 2016, I bought the loveliest pair of earrings on the street. I just love those earrings. So yes, the shopping is not bad at all. Of course, Ambassador can tell us more about that when we get there.
So Lynette, we also want to highlight that the 27th, on Thursday the 27th, we are actually overnighting. So, yeah, so that is a trip to the country. So we're going to overnight and return to Havana the next day, the 28th.
Yeah, that's correct. I just wanted to say to you what the tour actually includes, as you may have been able to figure out by now, but I'll tell you, it includes your airfare and your taxes, ticket taxes, Barbados, Havana, Barbados. It includes your hotel accommodation in both places in Havana as well as Trinidad, and with breakfast daily. The cost of one suitcase weighing 23 kilos is included. And of course, return transportation from the airport to the hotel and all the sites. We also included entertainment and the welcome event by the Cuban ambassador in Barbados, the Barbados' Cuban ambassador based here, and lunch where specified. What is not included, there are some areas that are not included. Insurance is not included, but of course we can advise you of that, on that. But health insurance apparently is mandatory for travelers to Cuba. Dinner is not included. The cost of any extra suitcases and alcoholic beverages are not included either. Most of you who have come in and paid for the tour already, you would have noticed that I would have provided you with some profile forms, which really is very important, because at this point in time, you will give us all your details as your name is written on the passport. We must have it exactly as that is, because when it comes to actually issuing the tickets, we must put the name as it is on the passport, and all the other information that I ask you for, that information is important. Feel free to call me and ask me any questions you want to ask me as it relates to that. We will, okay, I can probably mention this now because I know that this is one of the questions that is likely to be asked. Stopping over in Panama, yes, that can be done. There's a cost attached to it, but it will be done on an individual basis because I don't know when your return dates would be. I would have to, you give me the dates, I'll check that in the system and I'll tell you what your difference would be to pay. The only thing with that though, if you are going to do that, you make your bookings and you must pay for the ticket within 24 hours because you will have moved apart from the group. If that is not clear, you can call me and I will explain that to you. But yes, it can be done. Right, and things like cancellation charges and so forth, which you would have noticed on the brochure. Each supplier applies different levels of cancellation charges for their group travel, obviously because it's a risky business, and then, well, I suppose at the end of the day, no one wants to lose. They want you to have a good time, but they don't want us to hold the space and then they cannot, and then release it, and then they have to deal with it otherwise. So yes, cancellation charges are necessary. We don't want to be dwelling on it, but yes, that is something that must exist. Payments, of course, are structured based on the contracts from the suppliers, and that is why we have specific dates for payments. You must pay by this date because we have to pay the suppliers at these particular points in time so that we can make the tour, you know, all packed and all nicely done for you when you are ready to make your journey. And once you are there, you don't have to be worrying about stuff. You just worry about the money that maybe you need to do your shopping with and so forth. So that's all for me right now. I have some other points, but maybe those will come as questions at the end of the presentation. And I look forward to having you all on board. Thank you.
Lynette, I also can mention that the cost also includes a polo shirt because we want persons to be branded as we travel.
Yes, that is true. The price is included. It's a museum. It's done by the museum. I don't know if you have you don't have a sample of it.
The supplier has promised me samples, so I will let persons know when the samples are available. They can come and have a look to see for fit. These will be samples of the fit. And then they can say which size they require.
Yes, fine. Thank you. We saw photos of them, and I can probably send you a photo if you want to. They're all done by the museum, and it's a museum branded shirt. So yes, that is included in the price as well.
Yes, so yes, we can send out an image to the interested persons.
Yes.
So
thank you.
Lynette. William, it's over to you.
Yeah, good afternoon, and thanks for inviting me to add my few bits to this meeting. My thoughts are my personal thoughts based on my travels in Cuba. Obviously, different people will come up with different ideas of the same event, so bear with me. I have visited Cuba 5 times since 2019. Each time I usually go for 2 or 3 weeks and visit 2 or 3 towns or cities. I have visited Havana, Viñales, Playa Largo, St. Trinidad, Santa Clara, Camagüey, Santa Lucia, and Santiago de Cuba. Each one slightly different, but each one very interesting in its own right. I stay in a Casa Particular, which is a bed and breakfast. It is a room in a family home where I eat with the family and interact with them. These are regularly inspected by a government agency and all are clean, safe, and secure. I never had any issues with them at all. Cuba is a very complex country, and I don't pretend to know all about it, so I can be corrected on some things. But I assure you that what you read and see in the major news networks is far from the truth. Cuba is much more than American classic motor cars and cigars and people liming on the beach. But like all countries, it has its share of problems. The Cuban economy, as Sharon mentioned, was hard hit with COVID and the war in Russia. They depend on tourism from Europe, Russia, and Canada. When COVID closed their arrivals, it hit them hard. When I went in 2020, most of the hotels and restaurants were closed and people were suffering. Then the Russian-Ukraine war started and the Russian tourists could not and still cannot come to the country. That is a big problem for their tourist industry. Having said all that, Cubans are a very proud people. They're proud of their history, they're proud of their culture, and they're proud of their independence, both political and mental independence. This is evident in the many statues, museums depicting different aspects of their life through the last 500 odd years. The only country, in my opinion, that has more museums per landmass than Cuba is UK. For a tourist interested in history, there is a lot more than you can visit than just in a week. View this trip as an introductory to Cuba, the first of many to come. Because of the current problems in Cuba, a lot of Cubans would like to leave. But I have also met a lot who have returned after a few years, either in America or Spain or Canada or wherever. But put that in context, a lot of Bajans also want to leave, especially those Bajans who have been to university. So go with an open mind and no preconceived ideas. In the past decade, private enterprise has been encouraged, especially in the hospitality industry and private accommodations, taxi services, small shops, that kind of stuff. Change is coming. And this change is uplifting the life of some of the Cubans. The government of Cuba operates a chain of stores where imported food, electrical, and kitchen appliances can be purchased. No credit, but a local debit card or a foreign credit card can be used. Cubans can get these items if they have a family or a friend outside of Cuba to put money on their local debit card, which they then go to the store and buy whatever they want. I have done some checks on the prices in these stores, and although they're expensive to Cubans, trust me, they're cheaper than in Barbados. Visitors can also use your credit card in these stores to buy goods for yourself or other people. Money, important. Credit cards are used, but don't rely on them, especially in the smaller shops or when the power is off. There are ATM machines, but sometimes they're running out of pesos or the electricity is off or there's a very long line. Although not official, the US dollar is widely accepted. This is important. However, if your credit card is through a USA bank, it will not work. This is due to the long-standing embargo by the USA. For me personally, I find that FCIB and RBC cards work. I don't eat in hotels a lot, so I usually pay for services like that in pesos. Paying a restaurant bill, and this is probably one of the more market restaurants, can be presented a bill in pesos with the equivalent in US dollars, euro, and Canadian dollars. So when you go to pay with your credit card, you can select which currency you want to pay. Well, that will give an accountant a headache of which exchange rate is better. So I just ignore that. You can get your foreign currency at the airport in Havana when you arrive, or the currency exchange in most towns. The last time we was there, and it can be corrected on this, it was approximately 100 pesos to the US dollar. But on the street, you will get a better exchange rate. Other currencies are accepted are euro, Canadian dollars, and sterling. Those are the ones. I only have experience with the US dollar, to be very honest with you. When you are carrying paper cash to Cuba, be very careful to check each note. The slightest tear on the note or the slightest pen mark, pencil mark, whatever, they will not accept that. I don't know why, but they just don't take it. The other thing I would advise is try to carry some bills in the $5, $10, or $20 US range, because if you go to buy something for, say, let's say $10 US and you give them a $50 US bill, you will get back the change in pesos. And that, but you might end up with pesos that you can't spend or don't want to spend. You can get US cash at the ATM in Panama Airport, Terminal 1. But of course, if you can get it here before you leave, that's the best way to go. When you are leaving Cuba and you have pesos left, you'll be hard pressed to get that change back to US money. So you either keep it for your next visit or donate it to some charity or whatever. The last time I left on the early flight to Cuba, this was about a year ago actually, the shops in the airport were not open at the early flight. The plane left, I think, at 6 o'clock or something. So there was no chance of buying or spending a last few pesos at the airport in the duty-free shops. Gifts for Cubans, sorry. If you wish to take some small gifts, they'll be very much appreciated by everybody. Things that we take for granted in Barbados, that we take for necessities in Barbados, are hard or impossible to get in Cuba, or expensive. I'm talking things like shampoo, perfume, deodorant, nail polish, razors, hair dye for the ladies, for the men aftershave lotion, toothpaste and toothbrushes. Cuban men, and especially women, pay great attention to their dress and looks. Some basic clothes, but remember that Cubans are generally smaller built than us, so you will find very few extra large size people. Some basic food items like powdered milk, which I find hard to get in Barbados, spices, condiments, tinned food, or over-the-counter medication is always welcome by any Cuban. Do not attempt, and this is for standard, I guess, do not attempt to carry meat or fresh food into Cuba. And that goes in the country, actually. For the children, school supplies, books, pens, pencils, crayons, calculators. Most children have their own cell phones, so they probably don't need a calculator. Cuban parents and children value their education. Of course, all children like sweets. The local Barbados CCC sweets are a big hit. I can't go without carrying a bunch of them. Definitely carry a good torchlight that can be recharged from a USB adapter. You will use this when you leave your hotel and go for an evening walk, maybe to a little restaurant or a bar or whatever. Do not carry one that uses AA or AAA batteries, because these are hard to get and expensive. The hotels will have backup electrical power, so you won't be affected with the power outages there. Religion and family. Catholics is a religion of Cuba, but various forms of it. Every main religion is practiced along with a fusion of African and Western religions, but there are many others. The Pope visited Cuba when Castro was in power, actually. Every small village has a church, usually a Catholic church. It is not uncommon for 3, sometimes 4 generations to live in the same house, from preteens, young children, to great-grandparents. I find that the elderly in Cuba are not cast aside in a home, but are revered as part of the family and kept at home. The 15th birthday is a very special occasion for girls and the boys, but for the girls for sure. No expense is paid for the party and the week surrounding it. Family will travel across Cuba to be with the boy or girl on that special day. Every house has pictures of their children or grandchildren dressed up for that party. If you get a chance to visit a home, you will most likely see a picture of a 15-year-old looking very mature. For me, what is interesting, they don't make the children up to look younger, but much older, probably 18 or so years old. Travel. Cuba is a big country. Don't think different. Be prepared for some long bus trips. Although the bus will stop for a short while, and I'm here talking about the public buses, not this, you will be traveling on a coach, a private coach, but anyhow, it's the same. The bus will stop at a small restaurant. I usually take a bottle of water and a local snack. At the stopover, you will get coffee and a sandwich, sometimes a more substantial meal. Depends on the time and the route you take and that kind of thing. The roads in Cuba are similar to Barbados as far as potholes go, but the Via Azul bus has a good suspension, so you can get away with that. What I found, and when you arrive at a rest stop and you need to go to the bathroom, go directly as soon as you get off. The line can be long, especially if another bus arrives directly behind you. They will have the same feeling. There will be a person at the door of the baño who will ask for a small payment or a small donation, really, 200 or 300 pesos. And this is their way of getting payment for keeping the facilities clean. The bus, as far as I am aware, don't have toilets, but I would advise you to take your own toilet paper, hand cleaner, and sanitizer. Safety. Cuba is the safest place that I have visited. I walk about day and night and never been targeted because of my skin color or that I am a tourist. You can sit on a beach or city square and just take in the sights, just relax. As in all countries, don't take pictures of anyone without first asking them. Cubans like to practice speaking English, and you will meet people that just want to talk in English. I usually listen to them in English, and I reply in my very, very poor Spanish. For me, it's a win-win situation. I learn a bit of Spanish and they learn a bit of English. Most restaurants will have someone who speaks languages other than Spanish. French, German, and English are the common ones, a product of their education system. Barbados has a very good reputation with the Cuban people. This has been cemented by the strong government-to-government links over the last 50-odd years, and the number of Bajans that made their home in Cuba after Panama, and the Cubans that actually are living in Barbados. The bombing of the Cuban plane is remembered by all Cubans. One year in Santa Clara, I met a man and we talked for a while. When I told him I was from Barbados, his expression changed from a smile to almost crying. He told me that his brother was on the Cuban plane that was destroyed. He was part of the fencing team that went to Guyana and was on the way back home. Restaurants. Now, this would probably apply more to the smaller restaurants in the smaller towns, not probably the bigger hotels. But Cuba has a shortage of certain food. When you go to a restaurant, ask the waiter what is good today or what is special. Do not just order. You will likely find that some of the items are not available today, and it makes the waiter or the waitress embarrassed, and it shows on the face. I always ask them to recommend something, what is good today, and take it from there. Black beans and rice, you can't live in Cuba without eating black beans and rice. Yuca is cassava. Pork, chicken, and beef. Plantain, cucumber, tomato, pear are usually available. The way of preparing and cooking is different than what we cook, but it's all healthy and nutritious. Shrimp is usually available in cities close to the sea. Fresh fruit like pawpaw, mango, banana, pineapple, orange, and guava are readily available and made into juice. Not the natural juices that we buy in Barbados, which is basically a powdered drink with a lot of sugar, but made directly with the fruit. Something that is strange is that I find I don't see breadfruit. I don't know why. I have to look into that. A typical breakfast in a casa, particularly in Cuba, is egg with baked beans, plantain, cucumber, bread, guava jam, butter, tomato, fresh fruit, and juice of the day. Healthy and filling. Of course, coffee. Coffee black and strong, but with sugar. Cubans love their coffee. Not a large mug, but the small cups, several each day. The local beer, Crystal and Bacanero, and rum are very good. But again, your choice might be limited, so sometimes it's best to ask the barman, recommend me a good beer or a good rum or whatever. Remember, things will be different than from home. Different does not mean wrong. What to buy? Of course, cigar, rum, and coffee. Leather goods, they make a lot of leather goods. Belts, wallets, bags, hats, those kind of things. All made in Cuba. You should try and smoke a cigar, at least one. Art. You will find art and paintings and sculptures in every town, usually sold by the artists. For the art lover, you will enjoy this visit, no two ways about it. All the towns on the tour, Havana, Viñales, St. Figos, and Trinidad, have areas set aside for the artists. I'm sure the tour guide will point you in those directions. The farmer will sell his coffee and tobacco to the government, who in turn processes it and exports it. It will be branded as an original Cuban product. However, he will keep some and sell directly to locals and tourists. This will be unbranded. A visitor is allowed to take a certain amount out of the country, but not in commercial quantities. I believe it's 20 unmarked cigars, but I stand corrected on that. But much more as the official government produced ones. Viñales is the place to get cigars and coffee. There is a market for Cuban coffee and cigars in Barbados. The usual fridge magnets and other trinkets are made in Cuba and not mass-produced in China. The prices are very cheap compared to a similar item here. Now, this is something that I have to research, and I think in time it will become clearer. But when you leave Cuba, going through Panama back to Barbados, you have to go through security, not immigration or customs, just security, where your hand luggage is checked. I do not know if they find a bottle of rum, a glass bottle that is, if they will take that out. Normally, when you go through security with a pint and a half bottle of rum, they take it from you because it's dangerous. So I suggest that if you want to bring back rum or any beer, whatever, you put it in your checked luggage. Again, I said, I stand corrected on this, but I know that you will be checked. Your hand luggage will be checked. Staying connected. Wi-Fi is available in most restaurants and hotels. If you need to be connected on the bus or to update your social media real time, buy a SIM card. These will be available in Havana, and the hotel will advise you on the nearest option. I can't help you there. I cannot give advice on the various plans and options, but I know it's available. Cell coverage might not be available outside of the major population areas. Cuba has 4G, so it's quite good. Weather. Cuba is north of most of the Caribbean islands, and it will be cooler than Barbados, especially at night. So carry a jacket and a raincoat that hopefully you will not need. Music. Cubans love the music. When you walk around any town, you will hear live music from small groups, usually sitting at the doorstep. Not amplified, but pure sound. For a musician, and I am not one, you'll be fascinated by the fusion of African, Spanish, and modern jazz. CDs are available for the more popular performers. I hope you will find time to visit a local bar and enjoy Cuban nightlife. It is part of their culture. Cuba has so much more to see and experience than I am able to mention in this presentation. I have so many good experiences and memories that keep me going back. Cubans are friendly, and it does not matter your race, your religion, or your social standing. Whatever your interests, classic Russian or American vehicles, food, architecture, music, performing arts, sport, unspoiled beaches, parks, history, or just chilling on the beach with a mojito, you will find something to interest. Thank you.
Thank you, William. Okay, before we go to the penultimate item on the agenda, and then we go to the question and answer, I want to acknowledge the First Secretary, Disa Lewis. I inadvertently omitted her at the beginning, so welcome, Disa. It was wonderful working with you on this project. So to take up from one area that William would have mentioned, the whole question of giving back something on this trip. Now we want to emphasize that this is optional. We are not saying that you have to, but we are encouraging persons to consider putting together a small care package for a family or two. And William mentioned some of the items, toiletries, school supplies, pens, pencils, notebooks, toothpaste, toothbrushes, treats for the children, school supplies, small packed food items, like small canned items, biscuits, powdered milk, nuts, granola bars, and so on. And anything that you think a family in Cuba would value. Remember that these are connected to us historically and sometimes by blood, because some of them are descendants of Barbadians who went to Cuba. And they have experienced some hard times, which have had several results. It has made them more creative and resilient, but it has also impacted in practical socioeconomic ways. And we in Barbados have been very privileged. So consider putting together a small care package to take to present to someone when we make that trip to Bargua, as well as maybe someone at the hotel who will be taking care of your room. Remember, it is optional. Okay, you have heard from Kevin, you've heard from the ambassador, you've heard all about the trip from Lynette and Ali, and you've heard William on life in Cuba. So it is now time for us to hear from you. So as I mentioned, you can type your questions in the Q&A. If you wish to ask your question or make your comment on mic, just raise your hand and Anastasia, who is our technical support, will unmute you and you can ask your question. So the floor is open. So while that is happening, I just wanted to ask Lynette, you mentioned baggage, one piece, 23 kilos. That is the checked baggage. You can unmute yourself.
Sorry, that
Right,
is
that is
the
the
checked
checked
baggage.
baggage.
Yes,
But you're
that's right.
also entitled to a personal piece,
Right, that's correct.
hand luggage, and a personal piece.
That's correct. And the hand luggage, it's sized now and it's 10 kilos. So be careful with that. Just don't. COPA is very, very strict as it relates to the hand luggage now. That's 10
Okay.
kilos only.
All right. So one check piece, which is 23 kilos.
Yes, or 50 pounds.
Right.
Mhm.
One hand luggage, 10 kilos, and a personal piece.
Yes.
Okay. William spoke about, let's see if there's any questions there. Okay. William mentioned taking water with him. Is drinking the water, you can drink the water in Cuba, or do you need to have bottled water? Ali?
I will recommend a bottle of water. So we're used to drink water here, but then I won't recommend it for tourists. Then you're not used to, I will recommend to buy a bottle of water for all you. So then we will have sure that you won't have any issues. There shouldn't be a problem if you drink it, but I won't recommend it. And also, I would like to add, like you were, our friend was explaining about the exchange rate. Yeah, we do have two exchange rates. The official one at the airport is like 120, but so I not recommend just to doing that. We have an unofficial exchange rate that it's almost 4 times higher than this one, and then I think I can, and then I will talk to Lynette, and then we can organize like a moment on our tour to help people with the exchange rate, because it will be 4 times more expensive your trip if you change your money with the official exchange rate.
Thank you for that, Ali. We have someone, Veronica, who wants to ask a question on mic. Veronica?
Hey, ask Lynette for me if I can join the tour from Fort Lauderdale or Miami.
Sure, Veronica. Be happy to see you.
Okay, so how do I go about doing that now?
Just email me, lynette.rice
Uh-huh.
at goingplacestravel.com.
Okay, got
And
that.
it's not Anne Marie as you're used to calling me.
All right, Lynette.rice.
Yes, at goingplacestravel.com.
Okay.
Okay, you have that. You have it correct?
Yeah, I got it. Thank
Okay,
you.
I will also ask Anastasia to type my email address into the chat. That persons can also, if they wish to, they can also make contact with me. Just to let persons know that we already have some persons who are joining us from Panama. So this is another jurisdiction that is interested, and Lynette will organize that. Okay, let's see.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question.
Thanks, Veronica.
Oh, there's a question from an anonymous attendee. She wants to know if you have to find persons to travel with you as a roommate, or that's not necessary.
Single occupancy is available. If we are not in the business of arranging accommodation or trying to put people together as partners. What we would do, or what I have done in the past, is I link the two of you together. If there are two people or who just don't want to utilize single accommodation, they can have their conversations and then they make the decision as to if they want to spend the next week or the next 8 days together. But single accommodation is available. Single, double, or triple accommodation.
Okay, thank you. Gail, as it was stated that you needed 40 persons to hold the stated prices. What happens if this number is not reached? I will let Lynette answer that as well.
The tour will still go. I'm sure that we will make the 40. We just have to put that in on this occasion, and on all occasions when it comes to tours, we have to let you know that. But I am pretty sure that we will make the 40.
Yes. Okay, right, because we have to have a ceiling
Yes.
for the tour, but of course there's a lower
Exactly.
level. Yes, but the ceiling is the ultimate cutoff point. So do not let that deter you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we have another person. I am hearing about the tour today. Can I join the touring party and catch up on payments since I have missed a payment date?
Yes, you're free to do that. Someone asked me that today. You can do that. You just follow the payment schedule and you pay according to where you are at this given time. We are now at the second level, so yes, you pay. You will make that payment update, and then the following month you will follow on. But yes, you can join now.
Right. So just make contact with Lynette. As Lynette said, she will be on holiday next week, but someone will be available, or you can also make contact with me. But you can contact both Going Places and myself.
You can send it to my email. Even though I'm away, I still have access. So I will still be having a look at it, and I will respond to you, or one of my colleagues will. So that's not an issue at all.
Okay, while we are waiting for the question of immunization, are there any specific immunization we need to travel to Cuba?
I've been checking and I've not been seeing anything at all. William, what is your experience with that?
Any vaccinations?
No, I never had any.
No, William said no, he has never had any.
Oh, no, you don't need vaccination. I can assure you that.
Sorry, Ali, you said something?
Yeah, that you don't need any special vaccination to come to Cuba. We don't ask for that. You just need the form, and now we have the e-visa because the visa is online now for you, for all people who are visiting us. Besides that, you don't need any other special health requirement for coming to Cuba.
Okay, but say now that you raised the question of the form, can you say something else about that form?
Yeah, it used to be 3 days before arrival. Now it's 7 days. So I can help with anyone who needs help with the form. It's really easy. But if you need any help, you can contact me for that, and I will do it instantly. I'm used to fill it, so it's no problem.
Yeah, so we will send that link to all of the persons who have signed up, and you will provide any assistance they need. Is that confirmed, Lynette, Ali?
Yeah,
we can send the link.
that's right. I will liaise with Ali on that. Sure.
Okay, let's see. Right, we have some. Okay, there are no new questions there. We have some in the chat. I'm just seeing what's in the chat. Okay, we don't have any others in the chat. Okay,
There's one more question, Harriet. Is there an age limit to delegates?
Oh,
I'd say no. I'd say no. If it is that you are if you have a disability or so forth, that's something that we'd need to know. But generally, I would say no.
okay, thank
You
you.
wouldn't want to go over 90 or 80.
Lynette, watch your tone.
Yeah, I know.
Ali, perhaps you can say something about the walking tour of Havana if it's particularly challenging or. Yeah.
So we're walking through the four main squares. So it's the streets are made on ancient block. It's walkable. So it's not the perfect road, but it's it's walkable.
Okay. And Lynette, you can also mention that because you talk about the older persons, you also mention the fact that for younger persons, that the airline and the hotel does not necessarily give any discounts. Need to unmute. Unmute yourself.
That's difficult. Okay, yes, we had that situation this week. I did check and there's no special discount, especially for children. I don't know if it is that, well, some tours are really set up for, adults, unfortunately. So if you have children, if you plan on bringing a child, just bear in mind that there will be no discounts as far as the accommodation is concerned. And the airline, they will give you a discount, but then that has to be booked separately, and that presents a little bit of an issue sometimes when you start separating adult and child or parent and child. So discounts at this time, I would say no.
Okay.
But give me a call and let me see what's the best thing I can do for you.
Thank you, Lynette. Let's see if we have. I'm not seeing any questions there. I don't know if
You
I.
have
Yeah, let's
one
see.
from Mary, who says, question about electricity outages. Mention was made that the larger hotels have generators. What about the other sites?
All right.
So like I can take that. If like you're gonna be in a hotels, you won't have problem with the outage. So you all the time you will be at the hotels and with places that have electricity. So there is a big deal for us, but nothing that you have to concern about.
Okay, thank you. So I hope persons understand the hotel we are staying at, the Grand Musu, does have a generator, is what you're saying, and we don't have to be concerned about the outages. Ali, is basically
Yeah.
what you're saying, yeah.
Harriet, sorry,
yes.
one of your questions was the type of charger that works in Cuba. I don't think we have I need to ask Ali that. Is it 110 or 220 voltage? The voltage.
Mostly we use 110. So some places have 220, and the type of it's like well, I divided in the British one, the European one, and the American one. We use the American one.
Okay, let me ask William, what is your experience for your charger? The one that you use here in Barbados works down there?
Yeah, the same charge I use at home, I use in Cuba. For my cell phone or camera or whatever. So,
okay. Okay, so William has confirmed that the same type of charger we use here will work in Panama because that's what he has been using.
In Cuba and not Panama.
in Panama, Cuba.
Cuba. I seem to have Panama on my mind.
Yes, you do. And I just wanted to add that I had a staycation at the end of June at one of the hotels here, Melia Coiba, and they had both. You had dual outlets that you could use, and it was clearly indicated what was 220 and what was 110, so that you don't have any issues. So I've not stayed at the Mutu. Disa has, so she can verify what her experience was there.
I will verify that with the Grand Mutu itself, and then I will let you know to Lynette, and then he can share with the group.
Thank you. Okay, we have. Okay, someone wants to know when the video will be made available. Anastasia?
The video should be up by early next week on our YouTube page, Barbados Museums.
Okay, by early next week, or this video will be available on the museum's YouTube channel.
Harriet, one of your questions here was, what is the dress code for the ambassador's event?
Yes. Oh, Actually, this is
You
a
don't have-
question down here. What sort of clothing should be
Okay.
brought on this tour?
You don't have to go out and get a new tuxedo. It's not going to be a formal event, but as we say in Barbados, it should be elegantly casual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
dress nice, but you don't have to overdo it. The ladies don't have to go out and get new dresses, but it's always fun getting new dresses. I'm just telling you that it's not necessary.
Thank you. But what about generally the clothing? This is a question asked. What sort of clothing should be brought on the tour?
Yeah, well, for your traveling on the bus, jeans or comfortable pants, walking shoes, good walking shoes. It could be trainers or comfortable shoes for the long trips so that you are comfortable on the journey. Of course, if you're going to the hotel for the Café Parisien, you'll also want to dress nicely for that.
Mm-hmm. This is the cabaret show.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I have to specify that there is not allowed chores or at the cabaret. That should be a little bit formal.
Formal?
Yeah,
Or
not
elegantly casual can work.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And generally for short things around Havana, shorts can work, right?
Yeah, for all the tours, I think chores can work. The only thing exception should be like the event with the ambassador and then the cabaret show.
Mm-hmm.
Church service.
And the church service, of course.
And I should mention that it is an Episcopal church or Anglican church. So even though the mass is in Spanish, people who attend service in the Anglican church in Barbados will see that the liturgy is pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's a church where I worship. I was there on Sunday, and the priest, the dean, Father Caballero, is very excited at the prospect of having us worship there. And he always prays for Barbados.
Okay, that is very nice to know. Okay, let's see if there's anything else here. I don't think I have missed. Anastasia, have I missed anything on the Q&A?
No, you got everything.
One of the other things would be whether or not there'd be vegan or vegetarian options available at for the planned lunches, the breakfast, and so on.
Yeah, we'll have we're discussing that with the restaurant, but for sure we'll have in all the restaurant will be vegan and vegetable options.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Because we know at least 2 persons who are vegan. So yeah. As it relates to the polo shirt, I just want to remind persons that I will let them know when the samples are available so that they can come here to the museum and fit, and then they can choose their sizes. And the polo shirts are mainly for travel so that we can keep persons together. And I am not sure if we will decide to use them to wear them at another event while we are there, but for sure, for travel, for branding, for identity and the ability, because on the outset, we may not know persons by sight, but when we see persons wearing the same shirt, we are better able to manage the group. Okay, I don't see anything else. Okay, so Sharon, Lynette, Ali, William, is there anything else you will want to tell our participants at this point in time?
I think that I will So if someone need the SIM card, we can arrange that for them as well to be able for them to pick up at the airport at the moment they arrive. You know, so sometimes people need to be online all time. We arrange that. We have two options, like a physical SIM or an eSIM that we can deliver before they arrive. I'm gonna
Okay.
text the information for that so she can share it with the participant.
Okay,
Any
so
idea
a
what the
person
price
can
is?
state that to Lynette.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything to add, Lynette?
No, thanks. No, not at all. Not at the moment.
All right. Dr. Marshall?
I think William has pretty much covered it in his comprehensive presentation about his experience in Cuba. What I would recommend is that he mentioned hand sanitation and using the toilets and so on. I would recommend that people travel with some small packs of wet wipes or hand sanitizer so that when you're on the road and you have to use a public restroom, there might be an occasion where there's not water available and so on, and you have some means to clean your hands and so on. And the ladies, when you leave the hotel room, it's not a bad idea to take some toilet paper with you as well.
Okay, thank you for that. Lisa, do you have anything to add?
No, I think that we all covered it very well. I just like to say that we're looking forward to welcoming you to Cuba, and not only to Cuba, but to Barbados in Cuba. This is the theme that the embassy has been operating under. We work very closely with our diaspora here. We work very closely to bring Barbadian culture here in Cuba. So we're looking forward to having you experience that. And we'll see you in November.
Thank you so much. I am not sure if Kevin is still with us. He had to go to another meeting. No, he's not here. So, William, anything you said quite a lot. Is there anything you want to part
Not really.
us?
I am sure that anybody who likes different culture, different food, a different experience will enjoy Cuba. No two ways about it. Just don't, how should I put it? Don't believe everything you hear about Cuba. Everything negative that is. Cuba has a very lot of positive things about it. They have problems, but a lot of positive.
Thank you. So what I will dare say is to encourage persons who are interested to make contact with Lynette or myself. Lynette, because that is going to the horse's mouth, so to speak. And do that as soon as possible, because we would like to know as early as we can how many persons we have traveling with us, so that we can make all the arrangements are in train, but we want to finalize everything. So as soon as you can, well, come in and make your interest known and make your payments, it'd be better for us and for you. So I want to thank all our panelists today, the ambassador, Lynette, Ali, Disa, William, Kevin, who is not with us at the moment. I also want to thank our technical person, Anastasia, and of course, all of the person who joined us on Zoom. Thank you so much for being with us and for showing your interest in this trip by being here today. We just, as I reiterate, just go in, call Lynette, and make that next step. So thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you in Cuba. Bye, everyone, and have a great weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Same
Bye.
to you.